What if I told you the love story we thought was untouchable might already be gone? That Belly and Conrad's in-game is no longer guaranteed, and Jenny Han may have just rewritten the single most important promise of the books. I know. You probably want to throw popcorn at the screen like I almost did. But let's be real. Season 3 has already flipped everything we thought we knew. Belly isn't just drifting away from Conrad. She's falling into someone else's arms. And not just anyone. Not Jeremiah. Not a mysterious return of Cam, but Bonito. Yes, Bonito. The character who was nothing more than a silly joke in Conrad's letters. Now suddenly a living, breathing Parisian love interest stealing center stage. Let me stop right here. If you're anything like me, you screamed. Wait, Jenny Han actually gave Belly a whole new boyfriend in Paris? And here's the kicker. She didn't just give him a smile and some flirtation. No, she gave Belly an entire relationship, complete with intimacy the books never dared to show. Belly even slept with Bonito. That's not a small change. That's Jenny Han planting a stick of dynamite under the entire triangle and lighting the fuse. But before we dive too deep into this chaos, let's step back. Here's the pain point, the controversial question every fan is asking: has Jenny Han betrayed the heart of her own story? Because the heart has always been Belly and Conrad, the childhood friends who circled each other with unspoken love. The letters, the distance, the heartbreaks, the reunions. The books promised us a final destination, even after detours. But with Season 3, Belly is in Paris in Bonito's arms, living a life so far from cousins. Beach, it feels like we're watching a different show. And let's be brutally honest for a moment. If Jenny Han wanted to stay close to the books, she could have just stuck with Conrad and Jeremiah. She could have kept the triangle pure, painful, but familiar. But instead, she made a choice to create Bonito not as a throwaway joke, but as a flesh and blood rival. And that decision, that's the problem. It's the pain point fans are already divided on. Is this a bold, refreshing move? Or is this the beginning of the end for the Belly-Conrad love story we've held onto for years? Now, I need you to pay attention here. Because if you want to know the forbidden truth about why Bonito exists and what Jenny Han is really setting up for the finale, you need to subscribe right now. Seriously. This isn't the kind of theory you want spoiled on TikTok or Twitter. Stick with me, and I'll show you the pieces the writers buried in plain sight. Alright, let's get into the first secret. Bonito isn't random. He isn't just fun Paris boyfriend. No, his entire existence is a signal. Remember in the books, Bonito was a joke Conrad made in his letters to Belly. He was imaginary. A way to make her smile while they were apart. And the fact that Jenny Han took this tiny joke and transformed it into a flesh and blood character with real weight, that tells us something huge. This wasn't improvisation. This wasn't filler. This was deliberate. Bonito is Jenny Han's way of testing us, testing Belly, and most importantly, testing Conrad. Think about it. In the books, Conrad had one great obstacle: Jeremiah. His brother, his rival, his mirror. But in the show, Jeremiah is already stepping back, giving Conrad permission to fight for Belly. So what happens when the triangle collapses? You need a new threat. A new wall. Enter Bonito. Not a childhood friend. Not family drama. A stranger. Someone Belly met on her own, without cousins Beach, without nostalgia, without history. That's terrifying for Conrad. Because how do you fight history's greatest weapon? Freshness. Bonito isn't weighed down by years of heartbreak and miscommunication. He's clean. He's new. He's the what if Belly never had in the books. And Jenny Han knows it. But here's the part most people aren't seeing. Bonito isn't just a rival. He's a reflection. The ultimate forbidden knowledge. He represents everything Conrad isn't. Open, available, uncomplicated. Jenny Han created him to expose Conrad's biggest weakness: hesitation. For 3 seasons, Conrad has loved Belly quietly, painfully, silently. But now, silence won't work. Letters won't be enough. Bonito forces him to finally act, or lose everything. And I don't know about you, but that's exactly why I can't stop watching. Because if Bonito is here to stay, then Belly's choice isn't just between safe Jeremiah and complicated Conrad. It's between building something new in Paris, or holding on to the deepest roots of her past. But before we go deeper into Bonito's role in the finale, let me loop you back to the most dangerous question. Why now? Why would Jenny Han bring Bonito to life in Season 3, Episode 10, just as the story is reaching its breaking point? That's where the first reveal explodes. Let's loop back for a second. Because if you thought Bonito was just some random side character Jenny Han tossed into the story, you're wrong. Dead wrong. Bonito isn't filler. He's the litmus test. The ultimate trial that decides if Belly and Conrad are truly destined, or if Belly is finally brave enough to walk away. And here's the real kicker. The more you look at him, the more obvious it becomes that Bonito was designed to expose Belly's deepest contradiction. She wants a love that feels safe and exciting at the same time. But can one person give her both? Or is Jenny Han about to show us that sometimes, no matter how much history you share, safety and excitement don't exist in the same person? Now, let me throw this question back to you, because I'm not letting you sit there quietly and just nod along. If you were Belly, who would you choose? The boy who's been haunting your heart since childhood, who knows your worst flaws and still shows up at 2 a.m., or the new guy in Paris who steps into your life when you're lonely, who represents possibility and a clean slate? Think carefully, because your answer probably says more about you than it does about Belly. Comment it right now. Team safe or team messy? And don't give me that team both nonsense, because Jenny Han is not writing a polyamory subplot, though let's be real, Tumblr would eat that up. And hey, let's not ignore the wild hypothetical imagine. After all of this, Jenny Han trolls us, and Belly ends up with Cam Cameron. Don't lie. You would absolutely lose your mind. I'd throw my laptop out the window and cancel my Amazon Prime subscription on the spot. But let's get back to the meat of it. Because if Bonito is the test, then Belly's letters to Conrad are the evidence. Think about it. Belly ignores his letters. Pages filled with his handwriting. His heart poured out on paper, and she leaves them unopened. Do you realize how brutal that is? It's not just distance. It's emotional amputation. She wants to cut Conrad off, erase him, silence the voice that keeps pulling her back. And yet, when she finally replies, she doesn't write a letter. She sends a short postcard after moving into her apartment. A single postcard. That's not closure. That's limbo. That's Belly saying, I can't fully open the door again, but I can't slam it shut either. It's Jenny Han telling us Conrad lives rent, free in her heart, no matter how far she runs. Now, here's the forbidden part. This Paris apartment isn't just a setting. It's a metaphor. Belly moving into that apartment is her attempt to carve out a life where Conrad doesn't exist, where the ghost of summer doesn't follow her into the fall. But if that's true, then why is she still replying at all? Why not disappear completely? Because she can't. And that's the crack in her armor. That's the space Conrad can crawl back into. But wait, we need to talk about Jeremiah. Because everyone's acting like his story is wrapped up with a bow, but Jenny Han is sneakier than that. Jeremiah forgiving Conrad, stepping aside, and letting Belly go feels like closure. But is it? Or is it a setup? Because the truth is Jeremiah's entire arc this season feels like Jenny Han is pulling him out of the equation, softening his presence, so the final triangle hits harder. Do you really think Jeremiah is just going to walk away quietly? Drop his lifelong crush like a bad habit, please. This is television, not real life. So here's my question for you. Do you think Jeremiah is truly done, or is he going to crash the final one last time with a twist that none of us saw coming? Drop your answers below. Because honestly, if Jeremiah suddenly shows up in Paris, I won't even be shocked. Furious, yes. Shocked, never. And speaking of theories aging badly, remember when we all thought Jeremiah might be Belly's endgame? Yeah, that aged like milk left out in the cousin's beach sun. But hey, I'll roast myself here too. I once thought Bonito was just a random European summer fling. Jenny Han clowned me hard on that one. I'll own it. Alright, poll time. This is the one that's going to divide the comment section. Forget Team Conrad or Team Jeremiah for a second. I want to know if you are actually willing to stand on the hill of Team Bonito. Yes, I'm serious. Drop your answers. Because if I see even a single Team Cam Cameron in the comments, I swear I'm blocking my own viewers. Now, let's talk symbolism, because Jenny Han is obsessed with it. Belly cutting her hair isn't just a cute makeover. It's a rebirth, a transformation, a declaration that she's not the same girl who spent summers at Cousins waiting for boys to notice her. And yet, the irony is brutal. Just as Belly tries to reinvent herself, Conrad gets on a plane. To Paris. To her. Think about that timing. Belly's cutting away her past, and Conrad shows up to remind her she can never truly sever it. Jenny Han is setting us up for the ultimate collision. A girl trying to become someone new, and the boy who refuses to let her forget who she used to be. But here's where it gets dark. Because if Jenny Han really wants to mess with us, and let's be honest, she does, she might not give us the Belly-Conrad reunion we've all been salivating over. She might delay it, stretch it, twist it until it breaks. Imagine this: Conrad shows up in Paris, Belly looks him dead in the eyes, and walks away. Do you know how devastating that would be? Because here's the secret Jenny Han doesn't want us to admit to. She's not writing a romance. Not really. She's writing a tragedy disguised as a love story. And if Belly chooses wrong, if Jenny Han rewrites the endgame, the entire trilogy's meaning collapses. Every letter, every beach house, every whispered confession, it all unravels. So the real question is Jenny Han brave enough to change the ending we all thought was guaranteed?